Okay, so we finished Gabriel Knight 2. What a rousing adventure. I do like it. It's one of the few FMV games that's actually worth playing. But I wanted to do a little heads up before we head into Gabriel Knight 3 for a couple of reasons. First of all, Gabriel Knight 3 is the weak game in the series. Not from a storytelling perspective, but from a gameplay perspective. The technology just... There are some neat things that they do with the technology, but this game is hard to play. It really is. The story is still amazing, but you're going to hear me have a lot of problems with the puzzles and whatnot. Another thing you're going to notice is the plot is very similar to the Da Vinci Code. Now, I love Jane Jensen. I think she tells an amazing story. But can you believe how unoriginal she has to be to rip off the Da Vinci Code? I mean, and it's so obvious in so many places. This game came out in October of 1999. The Da Vinci Code was written in 2003. How much more obvious... I think I did the math wrong on that. Okay. Yeah, this came out about 4 years before the Da Vinci Code. So if you've got a problem with it, the plot having some resonance with the Da Vinci Code, take it up with Dan Brown. The last thing I want to do here is, this game doesn't have a proper intro. Instead, the game was packaged with a comic book to let you know the beginning of the story. Now, I'm sure I've got this comic book somewhere. I have no idea where. And I'm not going to spend days of my life digging through looking for this little thing. So what I'll do here is I will tell you basically the opening intro plot, and then when you start the game, we can go from there. It's been 4 years since The Beast Within. Gabriel and Grace are still at Schloss Ritter, fixing up the place. Grace is putting together the Sydney system, which is basically the Schottenjäger library computerized. She's bringing it up to date. She's making it easier to use. Scan stuff in, search engines, that sort of thing. When Gabriel is approached by Prince James, I forget Prince of what country, but it could even be England. Definitely Prince of something. Approached by Prince James, apparently his family has been plagued by something they call the Night Visitors. We're very strongly hinted that these are vampires. And he's worried about his new son. So he hires Gabriel and Grace to guard his son against the Night Visitors. That night, Gabriel, of course, not expecting anything's going to happen because, yeah, I dealt with voodoo and werewolves, but vampires? That's just silly. They're guarding the baby when Grace passes out suddenly, and Gabriel finds himself paralyzed and sees a couple of shadowy figures abduct the baby. He tracks them down after he shakes off the paralysis. He's able to track them down to a train where he gets knocked out. That's the comic book, and the opening of the game picks up from there. So he's trying to track down this baby that's taken by night visitors, and he's knocked out on a train. You're now ready for Gabriel Knight 3. With the past Gabriel Knights, I started having a walkthrough just as a reference to help make sure I kept the videos on a fairly steady pace. I mean, The Beast Within was almost, it was around the 8-hour mark with me referencing a walkthrough, so I didn't forget something or stumble or fumble. Now, still wasn't perfect, but that's okay. With this game, I'm going to have to really heavily rely on the walkthrough because this is a difficult game. And when I first started to look at the walkthrough, I realized even though I've beaten this game, I missed like half the stuff in it. So, Tim Curry is back doing the voice of Gabriel Knight, and it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. I hope he says samurai again. I really do. I love Dean Erickson's performance in Gabriel Knight 2, don't get me wrong, but if I can only have a voice for my animated character, let it be Tim Curry. If I get the whole shebang, give me Dean Erickson. Anyway, that's it. Now I'm just wasting time, so I'll see you next time for the first part of Gabriel Knight 3, Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned.